that your children can be on your policy to age 26, that if you have a pre-existing condition, you can get health care, that there is no lifetime cap on an insurance policy, and several other things of that nature. And those things are generally tied to having a pool with people of all different health levels and all different ages part of that pool, which is the role that the mandate plays. So that's tied up together. There's also an underlying issue about severability as to whether the other sections of the bill that are completely separate from that would also fall if the mandate goes down. Things such as the investment in workforce, because our doctors and nurses, our baby boomers are retiring, and we need to replace them because we need a lot more healthcare practitioners for all of us who are baby boomers and need more healthcare, but at the same time, the vast bulk of our practitioners are on the verge of retirement. So one title of that bill addresses that. Another deals with prevention. Under the theory, an ounce of prevention in healthcare is worth a pound of cure, and better for quality of life and better in the long term to manage complicated diseases or prevent them than to address them after they're rampaging through our bodies. So that healthcare conversation, I'm sure there'll be a lot to come on that. Another major conversation is about reforming our tax code, because we have the same problem in Oregon we have nationally, which is we have high marginal taxes with incredible amount of deductions and credits. And if you talk to the economic development folks in our state and say, you know, this is a little known fact, that a couple years ago we were 49th in the country in terms of the level of our corporate taxes. By 49th, I don't mean second highest, I mean second lowest. How many folks knew that? A few. Okay, well that's impressive, because very few people in Oregon know that. The world does not know that, and the reason why is we have this high marginal rate, and companies look at that high marginal rate when they think about being in Oregon. And the same thing federally. We have a higher marginal rate, but an incredible number of credits and deductions that have piled up since Senator Packwood led the effort back in 1986 to simplify the tax code. So this is perhaps a way that we can have a major form of economic development that would serve our country. Well, I just want to throw a couple things out there to get your thinking going, and I will ask you to be relatively brief in your comment or in your questions so we can get to as many folks as possible. Mr. Strasser.
Okay, to maximize time, we're going to call two numbers. The first one will be the person asking the questions. The second one will be the one on deck, and we'll continue to call the next one who will be on deck. Senator, first one has number 572. And on deck will be 578.
And somebody left their tickets up here if anyone wants extra.
Senator, first I want to thank you for being one of only 7 senators that did not support passage of the NDAA. I was recently at a town hall here in Medford for our congressional representative, Greg Walden, who did support it. And it seems that there are different interpretations of what the Act holds. And I'm wondering if you could share with us the reason that you did not support it.
This is the National Defense Authorization Act. This bill came to the floor with a clause that was never debated in committee. There were no hearings about it. And the clause says essentially, if the president designates you as a covered person, meaning in street language as an enemy combatant, then you do not have the privileges of the Fifth and Sixth Amendment in terms of due process. Those privileges are the ones that were put forward to prevent an overreach of the executive branch to protect citizens. That's public trial. That is habeas corpus. That is, the government has to show cause for why they are detaining you. That is the right to question those who bear evidence against you. It's the right to a trial by jury. The entire suite of due process is tossed out under if the president designates you as a covered person. I think it's an outrageous override of the Fifth and Sixth Amendments, And I think these are the values and rights we have fought for as a country, and to find out, to have it occur in such a swift and undebated manner, let alone have it happen at all, is an outrage. And I'll say Oregon is the only state where both senators voted against the entire bill for this reason.
So I don't know if you I don't know if you can be inside the minds of your fellow senators, but how is it that you understood that and the majority didn't?
Well, let me say that there was an amendment in the Senate that tried to rectify this. That amendment, I believe, had 46 or 47 votes. So there were 46 or 47 senators. I can get you the exact number if you like it. And I'll have Amy, where's Amy? Amy will make note of this and follow up with her, and we'll get you the exact number. But that means almost half the senators understood this was a problem. It was a smaller number of us who said it's such a big problem that we're voting against the entire bill. The bill then went to the House, and it came back, and this time 13 voted against it, so almost double the number voted against the entire bill because they counted on the House fixing it, and they didn't get it fixed. So now that still leaves 50+ senators who didn't view this in the same way that I do, the same way that Senator Wyden did, and we're trying to educate them because essentially I'd say their argument comes down to this. Let's give the government a whole lot of power in the name of national security and not worry about those rights. That's essentially the argument. I think that we can have terrific national security in processes that respect the right to public trial, that respect speedy trial, that respect ability to confront those who bear evidence against you. I don't see those rights in any way compromising our national security. I guess that's where the debate lies. I think and I hope that the Supreme Court will throw out that clause because it is such a contravention of the Constitution. It's been thrown out twice before, by the way. And so this is round 3 in a slightly different language. So I must say there are a variety of issues that if you were to ask me, I'm concerned about where the Supreme Court's headed. But on this one, they've got it right twice. Let's hope they get it right a third time.
Thank you. 578 and number 603, you're on deck.
If you could maybe start with your name and what part of the county you're coming from, that'd be great.
Testing. Yeah, Senator Merkley, my name is Ivan Holen, and I'm a member of the Medford Citizens for Peace and Justice and Veterans for Peace. And I've got one of those tough questions that maybe Tracy or actually I think I'd like to ask this question of Senator Wyden as well. But it's basically I'd like to express that I'm very concerned about a resolution in Congress which lowers the threshold for war with Iran and endorses a set of ultimatums that would make diplomacy nearly impossible. This resolution, S-Res 380, is opposed by top U.S. national security officials like Colonel Wilkerson, the former chief of staff for Colin Powell, who has said that it's effectively a thinly disguised effort to bless war. Will you join your colleagues, Senators Feinstein and Paul, in speaking out against this dangerous resolution and voting against it on the Senate floor?
Thank you. I've actually talked with Senator Paul about this. He's exploring language that would clarify that this amendment is not, or this resolution is not a resolution of war, because I think that's where the murkiness in this is. The language also involves speaking to nuclear potential. I may not have exactly the right words, really like nuclear potential, and which is a very difficult to define word. Now, the underlying goal of this resolution I share, which is that we must wrestle with trying to stem the tide of nuclear proliferation, and the possession by Iran of a nuclear weapon is a very dangerous and destabilizing factor in the Middle East. I have not taken a position on the resolution itself. I'm wrestling with the language in it. I'm holding lots of conversations. I appreciate your feedback on it. But the core question is, how can we hopefully end up with a world where we don't have another nuclear power? A nuclear power, and Saudi Arabia has said that if Iran has a nuclear weapon, they may pursue a nuclear weapon, et cetera, kind of a whole new wave of nuclear competition that only makes the world a more dangerous place. So that's a difficult challenge, and all feedback is appreciated. Thank you for raising it.
603, your turn, and 599 is on deck.
Hi, my name is Robin Jansen, and I'm from Jackson County. And first of all, I just want to thank you, Senator Merkley, for coming today and listening to all of us. But I'm here for support of the rogue and additional protection that we are looking for with the legislation that is hopefully moving through right now. And I grew up in Southern Oregon and spent my summers on the river. My family spent a lot of time out there fishing and rafting and swimming and doing all of that stuff, enjoying the wilderness. And I've also been a river guide on the road for the last 17 years. And so it's a huge part of my income, as well as many other people in the area. So I guess I'm just here in support of the rogue and want to thank you for that, and also just, I guess, express my concern for just kind of how just important it is right now. There's a huge amount of people that rely on the economy that comes through just the different businesses that rely on the rogue and all of this. And so anyway, I just want to thank you for being here, and I hope that moves forward.
Thank you, Robin. Yeah. And Congressman DeFazio has put the rogue wilderness into his broader timber bill that he's working on with Greg Walden and Schrader. It's not clear. I don't think the House is going to act on that bill this year, but this is a very appropriate time for folks to share their feedback on it. And I can assure you I'm getting lots of letters with folks giving lots of points of view, but the rogue certainly is a jewel. And this particular piece, as I understand it from Congressman DeFazio, is really aimed at the tributaries into the rogue and the protection of them as both spawning and the quality of water that then finds its way into the central river. Thanks.
599 is next, and 605 will be after that.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Senator Merkley. Hi, Amy. My name is Beth DeLeonardis. I am a voting constituent of yours. I am also on the board and a member of Oregon Action. Oregon Action wants to thank you first for voting correctly on the ACA, the Affordable Care Act, and giving millions of Americans access to health care. We also support tax and income equity. Senator Whitehouse has put forth a bill, Paying a Fair Share. It's S2029, better known as the Buffett Rule. This bill would reduce the deficit by imposing a minimum effective tax rate for very high income taxpayers. Billionaires would at least pay as much as secretaries, teachers, firemen, and our police officers. If the average citizen can pay their fair share, it is only right that those making millions and billions pay their fair share. We have about 1,700 signatures, and Ron is going to give them to Amy. This is a petition from Oregonians, and we ask you, Senator Merkley, to sign and support tax fairness. Would you do that?
I think, is it Beth?
Beverly.
Beverly. Thanks, Beverly. I'm taking a look at it now. The principle I'm very supportive of, and I want to make sure I thoroughly review the details.